here's a 3-minute timer. You don't get to quit. So we teach a whole generation that you can't quit when you want to quit.
Welcome to Martial Mindset, where we delve into some of the leading minds in business, martial arts, and academia to find out what truly makes success in any field of life. We are the fight coaches who will motivate and inspire you to level up your game, no matter how big or scary your goals may be.
When you've done things like what you and I have done, you recognize there is serious consequences to your actions. You know, and when you don't understand that, because everybody, and I have educated over the years a lot of my guys. I said, guys, you're not Jason Statham. This isn't Transporter, okay? Because you need to understand, here's how the Transporter movie, as much as I love that movie, should go. He does his thing. He doesn't get a pat on the back at the end. He gets arrested and he goes to jail for a long time for a lot of different offenses. And people are like, but that doesn't make a good movie. I said, you need to understand this. And I said, you guys have to understand that's what happens in real life. And it's amazing to watch in a lot of martial arts schools. They don't consider those ramifications. They said, you know, a guy grabs you, hit him, you know, and it's like, what's the context of this grab? And, you know, was the response that you created reasonable to that? Now, I'm not saying you can't go to level 11 or level 10, but it's got to be in relation to what's going on.
It's a reasonable force continuum. I mean, most countries will operate with a reasonable force continuum anyway. And you have to react accordingly. I mean, if the person's been verbally aggressive with you, then to escalate to suddenly drawing a firearm and shooting them dead is not really going to be a reasonable force dealing with the situation. So, you know, I get these questions all the time. At what point should I use what technique, or how should I, how should I deal with said technique, or what have you?
Yes.
And, but I just wanted to leave one thing what I was listening to. I just wanted to share a story with the both of you. I remember once many, many years ago, bearing in mind I've been teaching for 30 years, so I don't even know when it was, but it was a long, long time ago. I met someone and they said to me, "Oh, what do you do for a living?" And I said, "Oh, I'm martial arts instructor." I don't usually like to say that, to be honest with you, because then the next thing is, "What would you do if I come at you like this?" And you're in a dinner party, right? All you guys looking around, and you got someone coming at you at the table with a knife. The long story, that was all the time. The long story short, is this guy said to me, "I don't need to learn a martial art because all I need to do is get angry." And that was such a profound thing to say, because on a serious note, all jokes aside, the way and many people have this perspective, and it's a very baseless primal instinct that we had. His perspective was that for him to fight, fight effectively, all he needed was anger. And this is what I was saying, the difference between, being hot and cold. And I didn't really engage the guy in conversation because obviously, he wouldn't have really understood the whole point. Learning how to defend yourself and to do it in a calm, aggressive, yet assertive manner, which is very different. And, I remember years after that, and even now, even to this day, when I talk to my group, when I talk to my guys and girls, of course, my students, I always say to them that the last thing you ever want is to deal with an angry person, because that angry person is going to lose control. And, you might fall over, and because that person's in a rage, they stamp on your head, they kick you, they pick something up, they drop it on your head. If they've got a weapon, they stab you, because they're so angry and enraged and out of control. And I try to explain the difference to my guys between being in control, yet being assertive and calm. I mean, sometimes people mistake the feeling of adrenaline and the fear factor. And I always say to them, look, we all feel it. I feel it. Everybody feels it. You get the quickness of pace. It's all natural. It's physiological changes in your body. Embrace it, expect it, and push on. But most of the time people, they relate it to fear. Yeah. And I think one of the ways they come across, they can get over that adrenaline is to be angry. So anger trumps fear, because in their mind, I'm being angry and therefore I'm not being fearful. I mean, that's another sort of theory I've got. But I guess the point I'm trying to say is that if you are angry, you cannot fight effectively. Sure, you can probably maybe take a few more punches because you've got that crazy adrenaline running around your body. which you would have had anyway to be with a fight or flight mode.
Yeah.
But the point of what I'm trying to say is you cannot think rationally and therefore be responsible for your behavior. And that's where you read crazy stories in the newspaper where, you know, people get over fights over simplest things like parking spots, like you stood on my foot, you bumped into me, whatever it is, that last gear we were talking about earlier. You know, the point is that it's scary how people can take emotions such as anger and use that to fuel their self-defense. And I think we do ourselves a service in martial arts where, to a certain degree, we train people's minds.
Yeah, and I think it's a general state. Like people who get angry in fights are people who are just angry all the time.
Yeah.
It's just an avenue to let go of that anger and just finally release it.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I think you're right. I think that brings up two interesting points. You know, usually that's what I say to people. I said, you know what, one of the best things we can do is, you know, and I wish we could find a way to do this, is say, guess what? If you're between the ages of 14 and 16, you know what, you have to do a martial arts for a year or two. You know what?
Why not?
Let's get you into the experience of saying, guess what? Here's a 3-minute timer. You don't get to quit. So we teach a whole generation that you can't quit when you want to quit.